A very good morning to all, and a very warm welcome to our respected dignitaries, revered faculty members, proud parents, and dear students, to the National Law University Delhi Deeksharambh Ceremony 2025. I now request all the dignitaries to light the ceremonial lamp, symbolizing the dawn of this academic journey for the new batch of budding legal minds.
शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिः परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिः परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापं सन्ध्यादीपनमोऽस्तुते ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः आरोग्यं देहि पुत्रांश्च.
Thank you very much. And now, let us take a moment to felicitate our guest, the stalwarts of law, justice, policy, academia, and industry, whose presence today is both an honor as well as a blessing for us. We are profoundly honored to welcome Honorable Mr. Justice Dinesh Maheshwari ji, Chairperson of the Law Commission of India and former Judge, Supreme Court of India. May I request Vice-Chancellor Sir Professor Bajpai to please felicitate him. We are equally honored to welcome the Honorable Attorney General of India, the special guest of honor for today's ceremony, Shri R. Venkataramani. May I request Vice-Chancellor Sir to felicitate him. We are equally privileged to welcome Shri Cyril Shroff, Managing Partner, Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas. I request Professor Ruhi Paul, Registrar, National Law University Delhi, to felicitate Shri Cyril Shroff. Thank you so much. And now to officially welcome, thank you. To officially welcome the class of 2025 and their families, I now invite Vice-Chancellor Professor G.S. Bajpai to deliver the welcome address. Thank you.
Very good morning, and I extend a very warm welcome to all present to this Deeksharambh of the National Law University Delhi, which is the induction program for the newly admitted batches of various courses to this university. I am especially pleased to have in our midst Shri R. Venkataramani, Honorable Attorney General of India, Honorable Mr. Justice Dinesh Maheshwari, Chairperson of the Law Commission of India and former Judge, Supreme Court of India. And I'm very delighted to welcome Mr. Cyril Shroff, Managing Partner, Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas Law Firm, and of course the Registrar, Professor Ruhi Paul. dear faculty members and the parents of the students, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great moment for this university to extend a very warm welcome to all students and their parents and everybody who's here today. I'm particularly delighted to be here in this Deeksharambh 2025, the formal introduction of the 18th batch of the BALLB honors program. To the newest members of our academic community, let me begin by saying you are here not by chance, but by merit, aspiration, inspiration, and promise. Today, when you step into this institution, that is not just a law school, but a crucible leadership for justice and social change. At NLU Delhi, we do not just prepare students to become lawyers, we prepare them to become thinkers, reformers, and responsible citizens. As Vice-Chancellor, I see legal education as a transformative journey, one that must equip you not just with legal reasoning, but with ethical grounding, empathy, and global vision. You are joining this university that has constantly ranked among the top law schools in the country, that hosts more than 20 research centers, that has produced a good number of Rhodes Scholars, civil servants, judges, global advocates, that works closely with the government bodies, judiciary, international institutions, and civil society. But I urge you to remember, ranking are not our identity. Values are. This campus stands on the pillars of integrity, inclusion, academic rigor, and public responsibility. As you begin this journey, know that these 5 years will shape you more than your resume. They will shape your worldview. You will face challenges, you will debate ideas, and you will encounter perspectives vastly different, from your own thinking. So embrace all of it. Be open to unlearning. Let this be a time not only of professional training, but of intellectual and personal growth. Our faculty will give you all kind of guidance to support you, but it is your effort, your curiosity, your purpose that will define your time here. I have only one request. Do not study law only to master the rules. Study law to ask why these rules exist, whom they serve, what justice means. Let the Constitution of India not just be a book in your syllabus, but a living document that inspires your decisions and fuels you resolve. Let this induction be more than a welcome. Let it be a commitment to learning, to service, and to nation building. I congratulate each of you and your families for making it to milestone. This journey ahead is not always easy, but I assure you it is deeply meaningful and rewarding to you. And to give you a very brief perspective, I would bring a very small presentation to highlight the various dimensions of the study of the university, in order to showcase that what does it entail and what kind of vision it has in terms of its structure and function. So let this PPT begin, which you can see very briefly. I would run through it very quickly in order to save the time. All right? Yeah. Friends, the National Law University Delhi, this is the governance of, I will not read the slides, just the parents are here and everybody is present. You can see that the visitor of the university is Mr. Justice V. Nagratna, Justice Supreme Court of India, and Chancellor Mr. Justice Devendra Kumar Upadhyay, who was supposed to be here today, but due to some work he had to travel, and therefore he could not make it this time, but very soon he will be with us on some other occasion. And then we have statutory bodies. All our decisions are taken by these bodies, where Governing Council at the Apex, Executive Council, Academic Council, and Finance Committee. The university has been ranking at number 2 in the country in the NERF ranking. But having said that, though we have been ranking at number 2, but we are second to none. इस पे ताली बजना चाहिए. I always believe that the university is not simply the building. I always claim I am highly inspired by alchemists, and I always believe that university is your alchemist because it transforms raw metal into gold. That is the role of alchemist. I'm sure you must have read Paulo Coelho, Alchemist. How many of you have read that book? Please do read that book. That's a very transformative book which provides you those perspective, which is about transforming the lives, transforming the people, transforming the vision. And that job is done by that metaphor of alchemist has been very beautifully put in, where the role of alchemist is provided to be someone who actually transforms that raw metal into shining gold. So university does the same thing. Our teachers who are sitting, you are a raw person entering to this university, but you would be immensely polished and very confident person having gone through this journey of 5 years. And I always say this university has never brought the worldly idea of universities where too many students, large chaotic place and kind of thing. It functions like a very small laboratories where we take very chosen one students to really transform their lives to become very responsible person who could make difference in the lives of the people through their contributions to their productivity in various ways. Now I'll just come to a couple of things before and this university is also ISO ranked and ISO certified place. We have been contributing to Viksit Bharat project also, for which we have been given the certification. The campus is IT enabled, fine. This is the batch profile of this batch who is entering to this total 120 students. This time all 10 seats of foreign nationals have been filled. The students from all corners are there. I always ask that some states are really they have been doing historically very well, but this representation is very, very remarkable. And you will also find the gender ratio is very interesting. So this time, the girls are outnumbering boys for the first time. Girls are outnumbering boys for the first time in the history of this university. And when I stand before you, I also feel certain to share that any kind of selection committee when I sit or any kind of recruitment I have to do, I'm generally asked that why so many girls are taken. I said they are doing well and they are proving productive. They are excellent. So they have great future. But the boys, you need not to be disheartened. You have to work hard. You have been doing always well, but this is a great place. And the students from all streams are here for this. And the students from UK, Nepal, Portugal, US, they are here. So we have 10 seats of foreign national. All 10 seats are filled here. And this is the credit structure of the course. You will receive details later. This is the course curriculum in terms of credit. In your first year, this is the course which is coming up for you. And these are different semesters in which some 50 subjects are taught to you alongside your projects. And then begins your internships. Though we say first year does internship with the library alone, but I don't think this trend has changed. The students are going everywhere. Great part is our placement with all top law firms in the country, and they are really doing very well. And so the great part is not only the placements in the firm, but also the students are doing remarkably well with the civil services, judiciary, and all kinds of other policy organizations they are getting. So faculty ratio is, sir, 1:9, probably the best in the country. This is the highlight of this place. 1:9. hardly any university will have in the country. I am talking about all top law schools and everywhere. So we keep the number very manageable so that we have the individual attention. Our pedagogy is very unique. We involve the professionals from all different fields. The academic administration is also divided into the dean offices who exercise various kinds of work that they do, academics, the student affairs, research, international office, and we have the Collegium of Proctor and Wardens. You know what Proctor and Wardens do? All right? You'll soon know. We have these academic schemes. These schemes you read very carefully. We have created these schemes which are very student-centric and which are very unique to this law school. These schemes are nowhere like that. So Saksham we have created to provide additional academic support to the students in 2 tracks, general academic support and academic supports for students with special needs. We have created a system where the students with special needs are provided with not only a specific and customized instruction system, but also a customized evaluation system. So we do not mix them in one group. And then we have alternative assessment policy for these kinds of students. So many things, extra credit policy. Utkarsh is our award which the student, if you do well, you will be awarded with Utkarsh in the convocation. Akshar is an incentive scheme for the students who are very good at publications. If you publish, we provide you money. See, this is an incentive. Then Vice-Chancellor medal for the students who perform well in various ways in terms of their academics and other activities. Anubhuti is a very important exemption policies where the students who work for the centers and for research projects, they are given project exemption. Faculty mentorship program, Abhyasha is a unique program where the practitioners come to the university to teach and to take classes. Library, I think we'll soon have the library, one of the probably the best library in the country, all kinds of collection. So our simple policy is if a student comes to me that if he says, I need this book, I said tomorrow you will get, or today you will get. There is no bureaucracy. Whatever database you want, whatever AI tool you want, there is absolutely no problem. You will immediately get. Just that should, be useful for you. And library has immense, resources, databases, collections, articles, everything. I think that's the most amazing place. Our students have been taking admission to all the world top law schools after their graduations, and we have very close connections with these law schools. These are the centers which are working in the university, and they are performing very great service to the university through their research works. And different areas of work, these are our funding partners, and these are our academic collaborations with all top law schools in the world. The students' achievements, as I've said, 2024 saw Ayan Gupta achieving Rhodes Scholarship. You should try for Rhodes Scholarship. And these 3 Rhodes Scholarship in a very short span of time. This university is not very old. The existence of this university is just 15 years old. 2008 it was created. And we have created 3 Rhodes Scholars and number of other achievements in terms of students going to civil services, UPSC and everywhere. And this list is very long. I guess it will continue. So the students are really making, and I'm telling you, when I said in the beginning that the university is ranking very high, one very important role that is always played by the students of this university. They are doing immensely well. We have a very robust well-being support system in the university consisting of counseling, your those 24/7 counseling, and our counseling department has the medical doctor, psychiatrist, counselors, everybody. These are the committees through which the students function, and you will be able to take part in these committees. This is our additional land, which I show you every year, but it never completes. Thanks to the government. Campus tour is also something which you have already done. These are our fantastic buildings, including the libraries and everything. But the point is that these places you have to make use of for your own growth and your own journey. And I was meeting all the students in these 2 days, and they have raised many things and many, but these are our facilities just. And in the end, I would say, see, no place is complete, but I believe we have most of the things that you need for your academic journey. And when you ask that you don't have this or this, I always say, if you need it, we have it. If we don't have, you don't need. You know, this is my philosophy. No? So you got it. If you need it, we have it. And if we don't have, you don't need it. That is as simple as. So, isme aap just be satisfied. Here the thing is that the students have variety of, yesterday I was discussing with the parents also, that a very fantastic book you must read, Anti-Fragile by Nassim Taleb. It's a great author. He's using the word anti-fragile. He's not using, again, the opposite of fragile is robust or resilient. He's using the word anti-fragile. So you have to become anti-fragile in the sense that the entitlement should not guide you. Sometimes your discomforts and certain shortcomings, because the world is not complete. The world itself is very inadequate. So we do not want you to be in a bubble environment. You have to live in the realities of the world. And that is very important. Though we provide all kinds of facilities which make you effective and productive from the viewpoint of your work and contribution, but then there remains a lot of other things. थोड़ी बहुत शिकायत तो ऊपर वाले से भी आदमी को रहती है, तो उतनी शिकायतें आपकी जायज़ है. Thank you so much. I'll come back to you again.
Thank you, sir, for setting the tone for a very meaningful and forward-looking journey for our incoming batch. And now we are honored to welcome Shri Cyril Shroff, Managing Partner of one of the India's most prestigious law firm. A thought leader, Mr. Shroff brings over 4 decades of expertise in corporate laws. I request Shri Shroff to address our incoming batch. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the privilege of delivering this address at the Deeksharambh of the 18th batch. Universities have this, and college campuses have this effect on me. They're very inspiring, and I'm feeling very inspired just now in the presence of so many students, parents, faculty, and the distinguished colleagues on the dais. The Justice, the Attorney General, and all the other dignitaries. Thank you so much for including me today. The topic I've been given is how to become a successful lawyer, in the hope that I can seed your minds with some ideas. I think this phrase is pregnant with a lot of meaning. Firstly, successful lawyer doesn't mean rich lawyers. I think in terms of the impact that you will leave in society and on the profession is how you should measure your success. So I'm going to talk of 3 things. First is, how are you going to align with India's goals? The second, and I think actually all these three are important. The second is, before you become a successful lawyer, how are you going to become a successful human being? Because that precedes becoming a successful lawyer. And third, it's a very contemporary theme, is how are you going to continue to remain human in the age of AI? It is here. So let me go sequentially. Theme 1, in terms of the alignment with India. We are in a unique time and place. There is no better place on this planet to be than in India at this time. This is the time of India's rise. People say that it's India's decade, and I think there are people like me and others who believe this is India's century actually. We are, in terms of our economic outlook and in terms of the progress that we are going to make, somewhere where, say, China was about 30 years ago or America was 50, 60 years ago. We are living in that moment. The nation is being built, and as the nation is being built, there will be the rule of law and the role of law as well, in terms of how we build this out. There will be a big role of public policy and nation building, and I think a number of thoughts were, as Professor Bajpai was talking about what all you do in the university, my mind was ticking in terms of how many of these are actually, so important for nation building as well. And I think I would recommend that, in your time here, whilst you're a student, to embrace as much and as many of these as possible. This is the time for creative and original thinking. The nation needs it. And if you align yourself with the nation's agenda, you can't go wrong. It's a very safe bet. Part of what you also need to focus on, because of the profession you will eventually enter into, is on access to justice. We are all sitting nicely here, but there are thousands and millions of people outside who don't have access to basic justice. How are you going to make a difference to that? There is no point being a successful lawyer when there are so many people outside who don't even understand their rights in terms of how they're going to deal with injustice. So part of what we do in my firm also is we have a policy practice, as well as we run a number of programs where we reach out and try to create solutions, whether using technology or otherwise, on access to justice. See, the thing that's changed in India is, in terms of our own self-esteem as a nation and as a society, is that globally we have now become rule makers, not just rule takers. A couple of decades ago, it would be, Europe mein kya hua hai, America mein kya hua hai, just copy paste and apply it over here. We don't do that anymore. We make our own rules. For example, just to take a recent example, on the Data Protection Act, there was first an initiative for just forcing the EU GDPR upon us. We rejected that model, and there's so many other examples of that, and we make our own rules which are suitable for our country and our society. So once you have that self-confidence as a society that we are rule makers and not rule takers, we are a leader of the global south. We saw that in G20. We are also the leaders of the global east as well, and which is why we are in some sense standing our ground against the United States. Once you accept that you're both leaders of the global south and leaders of the global east, then it gives you a very different perspective on how you're going to evolve your life and your careers as you enter into a very new world. So find your own definition of becoming a successful lawyer, have a larger purpose, be steeped in constitutional values. We have one of the best, if not the best, constitution in the world, and be aligned with justice. In our firm, one of the things that we are just now focusing on is staying true. We have a purpose statement. Not many organizations, not many institutions have a well-articulated statement of purpose. Ours, we have it since over a decade, which is producing the finest lawyers for a just world. If you go to our website, you will see it as well. So producing the finest lawyers, one of the reasons I'm over here is to talk to people who are going to become some of the finest lawyers in the world. And for a just world, which is, the just world is pregnant with meaning in terms of what are we going to do for justice. It's not just about, doing a great M&A transaction or a great capital markets. Of course we will do that. You have to be a commercially viable firm. But keep testing your actions and your careers at any given point of time with, is it relevant for India? Is it relevant for justice? I think you should play a role in the development of the law. The Indian legal market is going to open up. In fact, many of you may know I'm chairing a committee of the Bar Council for opening up the profession for foreign lawyers. We are in the midst of our work. But one thing is clear, the market is going to open up. So several more opportunities will emerge. India is a better place. When you fly out, you go to New York in JFK airport or in so many other airports, and you wonder, these are all advanced societies, and what have they, they haven't moved in many ways. And you come back and land at a Mumbai airport or Delhi airport or any of the airports, you're coming back to a better place. And India is at that point. So India needs your skills. We are in paradigm changing moment in history. We are doing paradigm changing work. We are precedent setting on many, many situations. So this was my theme 1. As you think of your journey to how to become a successful lawyer, don't try to only become famous lawyers, or don't try to become only rich lawyers. Try to become lawyers who are aligned with the country and serve the cause of justice, and you can leave an impression. Now let me come to the second topic of becoming better human beings. A lot of this is personal values. Some of this is motherhood stuff, if I can say so. But hard work is essential. This is a very hard-working profession. The only other profession, I think, which is more hard-working than us is medicine. I think they work harder than doctors, than lawyers. But that being said, I think it's extremely important. You will be slogging all your life if you want to be successful. Integrity and honesty, I think, is very important. I think ultimately it is about character. For our firm, we have it's on every letter paper as well. We have 3 values: character, competence, and commitment. At the end of the day, when you're choosing a lawyer, when you're choosing somebody to represent you, it ultimately comes down to this: character, competence, and commitment. And I would add, in today's time, creativity and courage as well. So in terms of personal values, and again, given this profession, you must show compassion, fearlessness, reliability, and resilience. One of the things we always talk to when I do an annual lecture to my staff is that everybody must have the resilience to drink 1 ounce of poison every day. It's borrowing from Shiva as well, and you must treat it as if it is chocolate, because that is what gives you resilience. In terms of being, every day there'll be some new googly that will be bowled at you. Something new will come. I face it every day, and I think partly it's a kind of a leadership thing as well. If you are not able to handle shocks, this is not the profession for you. Approach your career with a mindset of abundance and growth, and then to borrow from what Mr. Bajpai said, don't come with a sense of entitlement. There is no entitlement. Everybody who has been successful, there is a reason why they are there. They have worked their way to it. And I don't think, and this is a problem, I think, sometimes with the new generation, is they start off with an element of entitlement. I think put that aside. As now you're at a critical stage where you're starting that journey. Entitlement is not a way of life. It is a way of failure. Think in terms of the legacy that you will leave behind, and also learn from failure. Every failure is an opportunity to learn. That'll let me come to theme 3, being human in the age of AI. So firstly, AI is here. It is not science fiction anymore. I'm sure it's being used extensively on the campus. Every industry and every business is using it. As a law firm, we are now deeply into AI as well. We have made AI available to every lawyer and every professional in the firm. but as a tool. So I think it's going to have a profound impact on the future. It will substitute several tasks. But I think the most important thing, and this is why I stress the part of being human in the age of AI, it will not be able to substitute, at least in the foreseeable future, the core judgment and about being human. Computers and algorithms don't have emotion. They're algorithms. So the key lessons which I would share with you is, do not abdicate your cognitive and emotional abilities. Use AI to augment your capabilities. Be agile and use it like a servant. Let it not become your master. But that being said, master the tool. Be proficient, be AI proficient, but let it not substitute your essential judgment. Speaking for my firm, going forward, we are going to only hire people who are AI proficient. Yes, your law degree is important, your knowledge of the law is important. If you don't know how to use AI as a tool, we're not going to hire them. And I think this is how a lot of law firms are thinking. So continue with the timeless skills of the 3 C's: character, competence, commitment. And also, just because we are living in such a volatile world, I call it develop what I call dragonfly thinking. You know how a dragonfly's eyes are? They see 360 degrees. They can see behind as well as they can see ahead. With so many risks in the VUCA world, dragonfly thinking is very essential, especially as you grow, you try to become a trusted. Being a successful lawyer is also about being successful in terms of how your clients perceive you, how the market perceives you, how your competition perceives you as well. How do you build that brand? It is not built only by your clients. It's not only built by your employees. Your competition, your peers, they are all responsible and play a part in terms of how you are perceived as a professional. When you sit in court and argue before a judge, it's not just between you and the judge. Your opponent is watching you, the client sitting behind you is watching you, the media is watching you. There is a 360-degree perspective on who you are. I suggest use your heart as much as you use your head. Finally, about being successful is as much about qualities of the heart as it is about head. As I think a phrase was used in terms of don't be only rules based. I prefer an expression of focus on the nyay element of it as much as about the niti element of it. Niti is rules. And as you go navigate your professional career, I think ask yourself the question, as they say, finality is good, but justice is better. So focus on whether the outcomes that you achieve for your clients, the outcomes that you achieve for your career have some connection with the concept of justice. I was also asked to say a few words about the role of law schools like this. A couple of observations. I think this is a very deep topic for which we'll need a longer session. But the first observation I would have is that the apprenticeship model under which all of us have been trained is seriously challenged with AI. A lot of tasks that you used to get done by junior lawyers are going to get substituted by AI. Which doesn't mean that lawyers are not. Lawyers are going to definitely be required. But the apprenticeship gap in real life will partly have to be filled at campuses. The AI skills which will substitute the post graduation life, I think will need to be augmented by apprenticeship skills here. We will need to focus on the human skills. I was very heartened to note that in terms of the various streams, that there is a good focus on liberal arts as well. Folks from liberal arts tend to become more all-rounded than only people from science. I have no disrespect for them, than science or commerce. So please embrace the liberal arts subjects with great affection. It will give you a lot more lateral thinking and all-round thinking. I've seen, I've been recruiting from the very first day that a campus student was recruited in India in National Law School in 1994. And I'm familiar with almost every batch that comes in my firm. Law school products, like we will pass out eventually, are not life ready. And it can't be because you are in a sequestered environment over here. But start thinking about being life ready as well. So there is an element even once you enter into your professional world where you get trained and get exposed to being life ready. I think for that phase, combine old school values with new age techniques, agility, and try to be ahead of the curve. I think my advice, since I was asked to comment on the law schools, is treat this as a sandbox for life. You can experiment with a lot of things which you will later on find harder to experiment. This is a sandbox that you are in, and work with what you can imagine to be the ultimate reality. And there's a phrase called the triple helix model, which is that this can be a confluence for you of where policymakers, practitioners, and academia can interact. You're in Delhi. You have so much exposure to policymakers. I'm sure people come and deliver lectures and others, and you are close to power, you're close to the policymakers. So use that opportunity well, whether through internships or otherwise. Practitioners, folks like me and others who will come and share our experiences with you, and the academia, of course. And last piece of advice is, don't forget to have a lot of fun, and make sure that you build relationships. You will probably form the deepest friendships of your life here, which will play a role in your life many years from now as well. Some of my closest friends are those which I formed in school together, and it's now 40-50 years and we still stay in touch. This is where you will find those friends, because at this stage nobody expects anything from you, you're just friends. So in terms of what role can this environment in the next 4-5 years play for you, as I said, first have a lot of fun. In terms of, like, take my own example, whilst I may be a very serious lawyer and all of that and run a law firm, I don't miss a Bollywood movie, and I will go to the theatre and I will enjoy my cricket and I'll enjoy everything as well. And I think that's what I enjoy art, and I think that's what makes life. So don't be too serious about anything. I think just take life with a pinch of salt, enjoy it. Life has a lot to offer, and don't forget that. So with that, I'll stop here. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much. Thank you for your words of wisdom for our students, for sharing so many valuable advices, tips, and also for some very important Deeksha mantra, which you have given to our students this morning. Thank you very much once again. Ladies and gentlemen, we are deeply privileged to be in the presence of one of the nation's most respected jurists, a jurist known for his unwavering commitment to constitutional values. Please join me in welcoming the esteemed guest of honor for today's Deeksharambh ceremony, Honorable Mr. Justice Dinesh Maheshwari ji, Chairperson, Law Commission of India and former Supreme Court Judge of India. Sir, may I request you to address our students?
A very good morning to all. Thank you, madam. And learned dignitaries on the dais, learned faculties, professors, parents, and above all, the center of ceremony today, the new entrants to the field where you would be the defenders of justice and crusaders in the courtroom. Welcome to, our fraternity. I'm thankful to National Law University, Delhi, giving me this opportunity, privilege to be sharing this auditorium with all of you on this, I would say, a pious day, a very significant day, an important day for all of you, the students who are beginning their career now, taking the first step into it as the leaders of the tomorrow. Thank you. Welcome to these corridors, friends, where logic would be meeting the leadership. You are stepped into that grand tradition of law where pen is persuasive and mind is mighty. Prof. Bajpai, in his first instructions to you, in a subtle way, gave you the first lesson of discipline by saying that if you need it, we have it. And if we don't have it, you don't need it. I'll, on your behalf, the students, all of you, on your behalf, I'll need your permission to add on to this particular motto, this particular refrain, or rather this particular comment from Professor Bajpai, that if we need it and if you don't have it, we will create it. Yeah. That creativity, friends, is going to be your hallmark for being able to effectively do what a law professional is expected to do, as was being indicated by Mr. Shroff, and that would keep on repeating, it will keep on coming up before you, that there would be expectations too many from all of you. Everybody, the society, the persons in need, your surroundings, your teachers, your judges, and when you will become judges, will from other role players, there would always be expectations to ensure that justice reigns supreme. Justice, and you would appreciate during the course of your instructions here, friends, that in the Constitution of India, the fundamental of all our learnings, we appreciate, we keep on repeating the preamble, we keep on inculcating the values clearly available in so many specific and clear words in the text of the preamble, but not only the text, but even the texture. We understand, we realize, and we appreciate when we understand that in the Constitution, the promises of justice, liberty, and equality are of course there, but most significantly and interestingly, justice comes even before liberty and equality. In that chronology, in that seriatim, there is a reason for that. And when we understand that reason, we really understand and realize our roles as law professionals, as to why in Constitution, while framing the preamble, justice was kept at the forefront, at number one. Friends, NLU Delhi, National Law University Delhi, since its inception in 2008, it has definitely grown into a formidable institution of legal thought and excellence, it's not merely a place to study law, it's a place to live the law. From the landmark research projects which the university has done and contributed in development of law in our country, to the other pioneering works in internet governance and privacy laws, and then international moot court victories, this institution has consistently produced not only the sharp legal minds, but also compassionate citizens. Professor Bajpai took a little bit of extra time in underscoring a fact that the university is consistently ranked number 2 in the country. The promise from all of you, from the side of all of you, is that even for the 7 years it is consistently marked number 2. The days are not far away when it would be consistently marked number 1. A silver medalist in any competition, a silver medalist has every potential. Well, a silver medalist is the person, well, one must always be aware of, one must always keep track of, because the gold medal is just a hand away. And I'm very sure with all of you, 2025 when you are entering, well, before you reach 2030, and any day you would be having a convocation being conferred the degrees, well, you would be definitely making this university ranking number 1. There is no doubt about that. But in the process of doing so, definitely you would be expected to devote yourself to the real requirements of a law professional in the making, as to how do you frame yourself. Friends, as has been instructed by the several of the authors, the sum total of that, if I could understand that correctly, has been that for success ultimately becoming your habit, instructions on what and how is one part. Understanding what, if we talk of the instructions in law, as to what is there and how it has come up, is one part. The other part, very significant and important, is the why of it. When I say that justice, liberty and equality are framed in and posited in the particular sequence, why that sequence is there, once we make ourselves clear of anything of why, well, that particular frame becomes a part of our values, our understanding forever, and rather we are always in a position to build on it. When I say that there is a promise that if you don't have it, we will create it, that particular, well, creativity, that particular, you're framing yourself into a mold where you can create the requirement, you can create whatever is required, and you can add on to, you can improve on to what is existing. That understanding of why of the existing thing is very much important. And the third ingredient, third important significant ingredient for the ultimate success would be the want, the motivation, you wanting to do a particular thing, you wanting to do any particular means creation, you wanting to do, you being motivated to do, as is being said, that people would be looking at you. Well, you would be expected to be the protectors of justice, defenders of justice. You would not only be knowing as to what is justice, why the requirement of justice, but then the third and basic ingredient that would be, well, making you the successful law professional, meaningful law professionals, would be that you want to do it. So friends, during the course of your instructions, as has been indicated, this institution has all those elements available, the infrastructure available, the faculties available, anything you ask for is available, and then you are, with all your commitments, you are involved here, you become a part of this institution, you will find that how much are the possibilities in yourself to add on to the development of law, and thereby ensuring our progression, our country's progression, as we are already, well, taking those marches ahead, where, as has been, well, certain discourses coming up, where the people find that now there's a position has come where several of the other jurisdictions or several of the other areas of operation in this world, well, who were earlier not taking India very seriously, well, they suddenly find India a formidable front runner in all walks of life, and thereby a nation who now leads and guides. You are going to be, well, the part of that journey, and you would be adding on to the strength of our country, well, for all time to come. And for that matter, I understand we have 120 students coming up, 17 from 17 different states of our country, and of course 10 students from the other countries also. They are the international students. While welcoming them too, well, I would say that while during the course of your instructions in law here in the national capital and the law university here, you will find that the fundamentals of law which were already existing in this country, in this area, even before advent of any of the legal principles or even evolution of legal principles in any other jurisdiction. That is a wonderful study for everybody to, well, admire, understand, inculcate the principles then on. And then, of course, you can definitely customize them for the purposes of your particular jurisdictions or the areas where you would be working. Friends, law is far more than simply the rules which are etched in stones. It's the architecture of civilizations. It decides rights, resolves wrongs, and, well, rewrites the future also. The principles on dharma, as had been the foundational principles in the instructions of law, well, that's a study of great value and for all time worth, for all time relevance. Coupled with that, well, your instructions on language, logic, reasons, and even rescuing the reasons from chaos, the information, the bombardment of information which is now we all are facing with. Well, making sense out of information is a significant task. Your teachers would be helping you, I'm very sure, in not only, well, providing you with the information, but making you understand, well, differentiating between relevant and irrelevant, necessary and unnecessary. You would be, in the course of your instructions, you would be even understanding the value and worth of wit and wisdom, well, when the law is in motion or is in work, as Fali Nariman, that legend of the India's constitutional law, he once said that a lawyer must have the strength to tell a judge that he is wrong, and also should have a wisdom to know when not to say so. The wit, friends, is not mere entertainment. It is a seasoned truth, marinated in years of practice. Well, there are certain things which will come only by way of practice, but then you would learn, you would take instructions into these areas of wit, wisdom, and proper use of the wit and wisdom, while maintaining your grace, while maintaining, well, your composure, and appreciating that, well, it's very many, most of the times, it is calmness rather than clamor, well, that makes the difference. The value and worth of grace you will keep on appreciating when you will interact with not only your professors but other operators in the fields of law, be it the practitioners, the lawyers, the chamber researchers, the judges, past, present, and future. You would continue to, well, interact. Then you will always find something, a common thread kind of a thing will always being available, and which you would appreciate the grandeur of gracefulness. And then you will certainly correlate that with something like that happening in the recent past, when the great Magnus Carlsen thumped that table after losing to Gukesh in a chess game, right? But then, thereafter, oh my God, when he said, but thereafter, the body language of both these champions, you would recollect and remember that gracious handshake thereafter, that was signifying that enduring spirit of respect. Ultimately, it was that respect which both of them had for each other that truly defines the champions. And I'm very sure you are going to, well, inculcate those values, those principles, and you would be definitely surpassing all the existing champions. Because every record made by any champion is bound to be, and it is made for the purpose of being broken. And definitely you all have those potentials to break those records. Friends, in this journey, you will gain the principles on, as Professor Bajpai has indicated, thinkers as you make. Critical thinking, well, you will develop into critical thinkers, slicing through confusions with definiteness and precision. You will learn the art of persuasive speaking, which is enough to make the judges think and the opponents rethink. Ethical clarity also, and then resilience. Yes, these are all, and there are several values, these will, several areas where you will keep on developing, yes, but you need to, well, wholeheartedly and completely focus on the things and continuously devote yourself. I would switch on at this juncture to another part of the audience here, the learned teachers and the respected parents. To these mentors, teachers, guardians, you all know it. There's nothing to preach, but just to remind ourselves that your role is foundational. Students thrive just not on the textbooks or its PPT presentations or video clippings, but on trust and time. These are two things which they would be definitely demanding from you always. Don't measure their success by marks alone or the grades alone as you will award or they get. Watch how they wrestle with the ideas, how they search for fairness in complex issues, how they evolve from confusion to conviction. They may not shine immediately. Law is not learnt by way of an sprint race. It's a marathon, continuous one. It is carved slowly, like a statue from stones. Patience, particularly for parents, is a requirement which parents need to remind themselves always. Be patient when they would chip away their ignorance, doubt, and hesitation, and would start functioning in the manner you want. Support them, not just through lectures or logistics, but with assurances and encouragement. You have to believe on them. I'm very sure you indeed believe on them, but you see a lot many of not only potential in them, they are the persons of, they are your embodiment of your dreams, what you look forward to. And then in that process, sometimes without intending to cause any harm or even retardation or blockade, we tend to expect something more or different than what that sapling which is in the process of, you are making that sapling grow, you are watering it always, but watering requires weight also. Well, plucking the flowers, plucking the fruit at the right time when they ripe is also essential and necessary for all of us to understand. And bear with them, if I can say so. So, dear students, tighten your seat belts and loosen your syntax. You are about to enter this world where even commas do cause controversies, and the arguments can move nations. One day, your voice would be echoing where we don't know. It would be echoing definitely in the whole of the cosmos, and it would reach at the right place. Your plea might prevent injustice. Your name might join the league of the champions who just didn't practice the law, they shaped it. Friends, when you set foot on this sacred path of law, you have to remember, friends, you are not just entering a profession, you are stepping into a legacy, a river that has been continuously on flow. Well, it has flown through several of the principles, starting from the principles on Nyaya Shastra coming from Gautam. Well, the principles from not only Manu Smriti, several of the other Smritis, and going down to even Ashoka's edicts, entering into the reasons of Ambedkar. It's a wonderful study to notice that the drafting committee of our constitution, well, though took up the fundamental principles and values from the objectives resolution that was moved right at the beginning of the framing of the constitution in our constituent assembly. A particular value of fraternity was otherwise not stated in the objectives resolution. And Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, we need to remember him every day for several factors, several reasons, including this one, that this fraternity, the value of fraternity, was inserted into the preamble, which was not there in the objectives resolution by the drafting committee, and Dr. Ambedkar, well, made this a pertinent point while presenting the draft of the constitution to the Constituent Assembly, that without fraternity, all other values, well, would not acquire that meaning of they are expected to. Fraternity assuring the dignity of the individual, well, that is our promise, that is our assurance. And you all, and that is why when we talk of fraternity, we talk of we all, you all, we all will keep on running, we keep on flying together, keep on marching together, while assuring that the dignity of each of the individual who is a constituent of our country, well, it remains assured. And whenever there is a challenge to that, well, a law professional, a person instructed in law, well, stands with him and ultimately assures that it is that fraternity, the great togetherness, the bonds of togetherness, the principles right from Rig Veda, as we have learned, that we all walk together, talk together, fly together, like that beautiful murmuration of those migrating birds. Like we keep on changing their shapes, but proceeding, marching ahead in the beautiful and meaningful manner. So thank you so very much. Wishing all of you very, very best. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Your presence and words of wisdom are always a guiding light for us and our students. Thank you very much once again. And dear students, as we warmly congratulate each one of you on this well-deserved success, and we look forward to witnessing your continued brilliance in the journey ahead. We would also like to take this opportunity to recognize the hard work, the outstanding achievement and efforts of our top 3 IELT rank holders. So I would request the top 3 rank holders to quickly come up on stage, and would request the dignitaries today to felicitate them. Chaitanya Ghosh, the 2nd rank holder of the IELT entrance exam. Chaitanya Ghosh. The 3rd rank holder, Ranvit Bahirwani. And the 4th rank holder, Sara Lunawat. So we would like to present the Constitution of India to you. Please come. Check. So, So thank you very much. Sara is not here. She's our third rank holder. She's not.
You know, I'm going to reward 3 best interactions that I had with the students yesterday. So be here after this session. We'll call you and have some reflections from you, and those awards will go to you. So we have those students have left. Oh, you wanted to say, can one student come? Yeah, you can come. Let us have one reflection from them. Yeah, please come. Sorry, I'm interrupting your schedule. Let's hear one voice at least from the. Say something, Rajit. How are you feeling today, and what are your thoughts?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ranvit. Today I feel elated to be here, one, and I feel in awe of the presence of all the dignitaries. And I'm excited to meet all of you and interact with you for the next 5 years and make a lot of memories. I know that the next 5 years will be tough, challenging, rigorous, but I'm sure we'll all be able to have fun, and I hope that happens. Thank you.
Well, once again, congratulations to all of you. It's our distinct honor to welcome a towering figure in Indian constitutional law, Shri R. Venkataramani, the Honorable Attorney General of India. A senior advocate with over 4 decades of legal excellence, he has represented India's most critical constitutional and public interest cases before the Supreme Court of India. We welcome Shri R. Venkataramani, and I would like to request him to address the students. Thank you.
You have been told quite a few heavy things about what you should be doing in the next 5 years and thereafter. So Cyril told you about how is it to be a successful lawyer, and the qualities of being a student of law. Before I get into another chapter of the same reading of what it means to be a good student of law, and all of us keep saying that you never cease to be a student. You're forever a student in any walk of life, provided you take it very seriously. You can stop being a student if you close your mind and attention to many things around you. You can continue to be a student if you are attentive to everything around you. Before I want to say something about that, I wish to congratulate our young Vice-Chancellor. Today morning when I walked into the chamber, after looking at him, his youthfulness, right, about which I can talk. We have a long association. Many of you are not aware of would not probably, before taking a CLAT examination, you should have done a little study of how the law schools came into our part of legal education. And the Bangalore National Law School was the first venture which an adventurer in legal education conceived and nurtured. And Professor Dr. Madhav Menon, who's hailed as the architects of contemporary legal education. So I got introduced to Professor Bajpai, myself being a student of Professor Menon, long years ago in 1974, 1977. So when we met first in National Law School, Bangalore, I still remember those days when talking about legal education for the future and shaping the contours of legal education. More importantly, not because the relevance of legal profession as merely a profession which is working in the courts, but something which goes beyond. I still remember those days of introduction to Professor Bajpai. And I said when I walked into the chamber today morning, I thought the same young man who wants to be young forever and dream forever to the best of institutions in our country. I congratulate him for organizing this event. I've been to many law schools to talk at induction, events, but every time I'm invited to talk about an induction event, I keep asking myself, shall I repeat the same thing? Or shall I think something new? And I think it happens that every time we're called upon to speak at an induction event, we have something new to think about. That's because the phenomenal changes which are taking place, not only in our country, but across the globe. The phenomenal changes is not really in individual life, but at a social life, and the way our life is now getting organized. It is being determined from outside. So we have lots of things that are happening around us. The study of law maybe 40, 50 years ago, when we walked into a law college, to become a lawyer is no longer a phenomenon of study of law, for good reasons. And what is the most important value we think we cherish in our life, every individual? We talk about liberty. We talked about creativity, just as Maheshwari talked about creativity. So take out creativity in each and every one of our life. Whatever profession, calling, engagement we have, take creativity and innovation, we become a dead wood. We become a dry leaf of a tree which has no life. So creativity and innovation. And what does that mean in the legal profession? As you go probably in another decade or so, when the world would be very, very different from what it was a decade ahead in the past. So those of us who have seen the changes in the world in more than one sense. So when India attained freedom, we were talking about what India can do within its own territory and what our laws, constitution can do for the good of each and every human being in India. So those dreams were a different order. We thought that we can build a particular social order, equality, equal regard, fraternity, etc. But we know that today, the way we thought will transform our social order, which was built on hierarchy, high and low, etc. The way we thought will do that itself is undergoing a lot of changes. And it's in that context that legal education, in its manifold understanding of what law can be an instrument of social change, what law can do for each individual, for transforming our own individual life and for our collective life. The study of law is therefore undergoing internally and externally a lot of changes. National law schools, I think, are the best places where the changes in legal education with their relevance to social order, social making, and also individual pursuit of happiness. The US Constitution talks about pursuit of happiness. But India had a long, long history of what happiness means to be at the individual level. So we have, so there are too many callings on your mind today. It is not merely a study of some subjects of law. It's not merely a study of unconnected, dimensions of law. But as you will be taken to a journey of 5 years from today onwards, you will find that, for instance, can you say thinking like a lawyer is different from thinking like a mathematician, thinking like a scientist, thinking like a philosopher, or thinking like a plumber or a carpenter? Can you say thinking like a plumber or a carpenter makes any sense? Because it's just a profession where mechanically you do something. A philosopher tries to understand what the universe is like. So, but then the basis is all reasoning, rational reasoning as we call it. When you come to law, something different happens. Because law is not merely a calling to much contemplate about the universe. Philosophers contemplate about the universe. I was really happy to know that many of you put up your hand saying, I read Paulo Coelho. Beautiful, wonderful. But then there are so many others who have talked about what exactly it means, life means. Life meant in the past and life must mean in the future. Therefore, the study of law today is not merely like thinking like any other profession. The noblest profession is a medical profession. But we have another dimensions of nobility in the legal profession. Because our society is still built on hierarchies, inequalities, for a number of reasons. So the study of law will be an instrument to understand why we did it in the past and what can be done to undo it in the future, to resolve all those problems of inequality in society, and to understand the human creativity, potential, innovation, etc. How can law, enable each and every one of this pursuit of life? And that's a larger canvas of study of law. And if you get excited by that, I think you are most fortunate. But if you close your eyes to all that excitement in the larger canvas of study of law, you will probably be a mechanical student of law. Don't be a mechanical student of law. Be attentive to the larger canvas of what law is called upon to talk about, think about, contemplate. Be attentive to that. And I think where the whole purpose of life at some point of time, you will find that you have a fulfillment in life. Now, as I talked about Professor Menon, I would also like to talk about one of the most important values in our country, the Guru-Shishya tradition. And for a number of reasons, I think we are slowly slipping away from the importance of the tradition. So every institution of teaching is a Gurukul, and every teacher who teaches you imparts what their knowledge earned over a period of time and shares them with you or your gurus. And the Guru-Shishya tradition, in my understanding, is something invaluable. You will not find it in any other part of the world today. I wish our law schools, our law teachers, and our students of law place necessary emphasis and importance on this tradition, which must be nurtured and preserved. And how do you do it? There are many ways of doing that. Now, I keep paying my own tributes to Professor Menon wherever I go. In any place, public universities, law schools, where I am called upon to speak, I first pay my respect to Professor Menon because he was my guru. And what did he tell me? He asked me to open my mind and eyes to everything around me. To open your mind and eyes and attentiveness to everything around you. And a good student of law, I think, will be that attentiveness to everything around you. Please be alive to that. I don't wish to talk about how you could be a successful lawyer beyond what my learned friend Cyril talked about. There are other important issues in your life as you walk about. But I probably would like to, from my own journey in this profession, coming from a very small, faraway place like Pondicherry, where I studied law under Professor Madhav Menon. So because of his association with me, I've been closely associated with almost all of legal education in the past 25 to 30 years. The transformation which has taken place in the study of law and legal education, also India is so endearing to me that I think I wish to continue to be part of the changing contours of legal education. Why? I think it's because that the study of law and the rule of law itself is undergoing a lot of transformations and changes. We are no longer a profession committed to, sitting in the court and arguing cases. We are policy makers. We are those involved in transforming human minds at a variety of levels, in wide range of places and contexts. So how this transformation can take place unless if you are not fully equipped yourself? Therefore, the study of law, 5 years, is a wonderful opportunity for you to equip yourself as much as possible. And when we studied law, we studied it differently. Today, all other possible assistances. We keep talking about the new explosions in technology. Technology in a wide range of ways. But for our study of law or any profession today, we have the assistance of something called an artificial intelligence. I don't wish to get into a great debate on that. We seem to be fascinated by these explosions in technology. They're important for us. There are several areas of technology, particularly in healthcare or transportation, communication, so on and so forth, which have relieved human beings from burdens, the stress, the exertions of doing things in life. But there are areas of technology which are a challenge to our mind. I wish that when you try to read every branch of law, try to see the connectedness in every branch of law. And you got those two students who got the Bible, the Red Bible, the Constitution of India, and the Bible we talk about, right? Well, in our own country, if you look at the traditions, the spiritual traditions, the religious understanding, the accommodation, how people have migrated from one part of the country to another part of the country, despite large number of languages, distinctions, etc. We have lived together as a socially, culturally, spiritually connected nation. We would not be probably a country geographically connected to one administrative head, but we live together as a nation. We have our great riches. We have our great traditions. And that understanding, I think, therefore, I always thought that a student of law must get connected to the past, could be a great student of history, could be a great student of political science and thoughts, but then ultimately, what good do we make out of it for myself and for the rest of humanity? So I think my study of law will be of no use to me if I don't do it from these two, relevant angles. So please pay attention to that. And you will find that you will be harvesting a rich harvest at some point of time in your life. I tell you then probably 10 years, 15 years, 20 years later, whatever you are, wherever you are, you will probably remember this slender-looking Attorney General coming and telling you, you will have a rich harvest some point of life in future. You will definitely remember me at that point of time. Because each one of us who made something in our life had been attentive to these aspects of life. So when I'm called upon to talk to you today, I was asking myself today morning, what shall I speak? So I had some thoughts put up on inscribed on paper, but I thought, let me not look into what I've written here. Let me talk my mind to you. And how do I open up a mind? So my own experience of understanding the relevance of law. I'll conclude by sharing a few experiences. So from a faraway Pondicherry, practicing in the trial court, coming to Supreme Court, because Professor Menon thought I'm a very useful student, a very bright student, a promising student. He brought me to practice in Supreme Court. I did not come on my own. And that's a great gratitude I keep even today. So having come to the Supreme Court in 1970 and 80, I look back at those point of time, how did the Supreme Court look like? How did courts look like in our country those days? So I have a great feeling about how the transformation which has taken place because the role played by Supreme Court, the role played by high ethically minded lawyers who fashioned important values and ideas before the Supreme Court. If today we talk of a transformative constitution, it's because of a collective engagement of a generation after generation of judges and lawyers who thought the role of the constitution for the common weal of the last women and men in our community is important. So you see today a product on your hand, a ready-made product, but it's a product of exertion and engagement of people who thought with visionary thoughts for the future. Imagine that if Mahatma Gandhi had not been insulted in South Africa, we would not have had a wonderful human being walking around in a country with the idea of Satyagraha. Imagine Vivekananda had not gone to Chicago and had his great speech there. He says, arise, awake, awake, till your heart feels and reels. For whom? For every human being around you. I consider, and I think the study of law is all about being awake and arising and awake every moment of your life. So the study of law should be that wonderful, exciting opportunity of being a very important part of human community. So please be alive to that. And I would like to conclude with a famous quote which I always thought was very, very interesting. One of the presidents of the United States, John Adams, long ago, somewhere in 1800s, early 1800s, he said this. He said, I must study politics and war. Imagine in 1780, soon after the American Constitution, we have the War of Independence in America, the Boston Tea Party, etc., right? So at that point of time, there was war all around America and seceding from British colonial rule. So he said, I must study politics and war, that my sons may have liberty to study mathematics and philosophy. So one generation will study politics and war. So the next generation will have the opportunity to study mathematics and philosophy. What is mathematics and philosophy? A more leisurely subject where you are not distracted by those unruly things of life. And he says, my sons ought to study mathematics and philosophy, geography, natural history, and naval architecture, navigation, commerce, and agriculture. Why? In order to give their children a right to study painting, poetry, music, architecture, tapestry, and porcelain. These are subjects where you have, any amount of leisure to have your mind engaged in beauty, in aesthetics. So look at the vision he had. I think the study of law is about the last part of what John Adams was talking about. So that a future generation, which will be able to say, I have the time to study poetry, not about war. I have the time to study, painting, not about, unruliness, disorder. So not chaos. So I wish a great success to each and every one of you in your life. And perhaps at the end, when 5 years later, when you conclude your courses here, you will stand up and say, and great ovation to your Vice-Chancellor and each and every one of those teachers who have taught you and shared their knowledge and information in an organized way to make you a beautiful human being. We show gratitude to them, and then you will find that your life will be full of happiness. Wish you so. Thank you so much.